everyone watching. We are in the finals of the Champions League Sapporo, where Miraidon is here on the left and Gardevoir Munkidori on the right. Miraidon, an old classic, nothing changed, the same old, same old. And on the right, we have Gardevoir Munkidori, where Gardevoir has a slow setup strategy that it always has, but Munkidori, with the Dark Energy, allowing it to move 3 damage counters every single turn, or if you have it on the board, adding 30 damage and some more synergy. There was a slew of Dragapults, at least 2 Dragapult Zatus, a Dragapult Comfy, all in top 8, and they all were felled. So I think half of cut was Dragapults. 3 or 4 Dragapults did make it to top 8, but they were all felled by these decks as it came through. The Gardevoir deck putting on a clinic at dissecting the Dragapult in top 4. Seemed like the Dragapult deck had a target on its back, and cards like Munkidori were able to capitalize on a lot of their success. With me, I have Victor Ong, top 8 finisher at the North American International Championships in 2018. So Victor and I are here to cast the finals for you guys. Hopefully you'll enjoy a little bit of dual casting action. Yeah. What's up, Victor? How you doing?
Hi. I'm excited for these finals, but I'm a little bit worried because we have seen this Miraidon player already donk their way through top 8 and top 4. Could happen again.
That's right. The collective number of turns that this Miraidon player has played is 2. In top 8 and top 4, their total turn number has been 2. Meanwhile, the Gardevoir player needed at least 2 turns to even set up and start playing the game, because I don't think they're
Yeah.
playing copies of Rare Candy. They're playing a slower, more streamlined setup, so they can't even respond super early. However, the Munkidori will give them 30 extra damage to potentially answer this Iron Hands a little bit earlier on. But on the other side, you do have this hyper aggressive Miraidon deck that's playing multiple copies of Double Turbo Energy that can just put the pressure on. And you can't really do much about it if you're the Gardevoir player if an Iron Hands comes swinging in, because you don't get a ton of agency in those situations. So what
The
are the win
matchups have
conditions
been
for each deck
so.
here? Break that down for us, Victor.
Yeah, I think the matchups have been so good from Miraidon in this playoff bracket. And I think that just continues here in the finals because if you get that Iron Hand set up right away, this Gardevoir deck really is not built to knock it out. So more than likely, if Iron Hands comes out in turn 1 or turn 2, you are going to get to amp you very much, not once but twice, putting yourself at 2 prizes before Gardevoir gets to take even 1. I think that is the main win condition from Rhydon here, especially given the build as you mentioned, the 2 double turbo energies.
Yep.
Gardevoir, on the other hand, their win condition is either Miraidon gets off to a slow start, or you have some combination of Iono, Countercatcher, Screamtail, and hope that they can't get out of it.
Is that hand 7 lightning energies as the mulligan? That is a crazy one. Victor, we were joking around. It was 7
Oh
lightning energies.
no.
That's a Yahtzee.
Oh my gosh.
We were joking about this earlier in the day that before you would lament as the Gardevoir player if you prize your Mirage Step Curlia, and this time it's
Right.
the A spec item card that gets you 3 stage 1 Pokemon. And what do you know, Victor? That's a Caster Curse. That's
Surprise.
sitting in the prize cards. Um,
There's man, I mean, if there's any way to lose this matchup, this is not the matchup you want that to happen in for sure.
Interesting to note that the Gardevoir player is choosing to play copies of Irida instead of Arven because they're not playing TM Evos. So they're choosing to find their faster ways to get to Manaphy, faster ways to get to Greninja, and just get um, things like that.
Mostly the Greninja, I would imagine. Mostly Greninja. I mean, this Gardevoir deck doesn't play TM Evo like Gardevoir did in our current format, so it kind of makes sense. But usually
Oh,
you use that ear. Oh,
wow. A Prime Catcher and the Tatsugiri sitting in the prize cards. There's 2 copies of Iron Hands in the deck, so it doesn't
yep,
matter too much that one is prized. But Tatsugiri plus a skateboard is a great way for the the Miraidon deck, to find supporters like Arven and keep the chain going, along with things like Mew in the late game. Prime Catcher being both A specs being priced seems kind of fair, honestly, for both players. No one gets an A spec this game, but the
you
red,
would think that it's fair, but I would say that trade off is very favored from Rhydon.
I absolutely agree. And on the board, the red indicator means that the player is going second to signify that both players will get an equal number of turns. And unfortunately for the Gardevoir player, the token is on their side, so Miraidon is kicking us off. Miraidon has always been plagued with the same consistency issues that it always has been. So if Miraidon does Miraidon things and pops off, well, it could be a crazy game. But if Miraidon doesn't do Miraidon things, it could go either way. Iron Bundle in the hand, but I don't see much else.
Is there an energy?
Just a pass. But I do see an Arven, I believe, for turn 2. So a very, very tame turn 1 from the Miraidon players, something that the Gardevoir player truly does need to set up and play this game. We do see the Poffin coming up turn 1, allowing us to grab some pieces. Both players, well, I mean, the Gardevoir player probably realizing much quicker that the A-Spec is not there. But the attackers are there. There's no real way to stop the Screamtail in this matchup from the Miraidon player. So if you can start doing some shenanigans and getting some prizes, it's really, really useful. And the Baton's effectiveness that's in Miraidon does get softened a little bit because there is no access to Vacuum in this Gardevoir deck. But the setup is coming through. Double Poffin. It's like VIP pass all over again. You know, Gardevoir finding their VIP passes on turn 1. It's like old times. Don't you miss this, Vic?
I'm not a big Guardy fanatic myself, but this is as good of a start as you can hope for, aside from the whole prizing the Hyper Aroma thing. But if you just draw into enough Curlias, that might not be an issue. So we'll see if we're able to get there.
There is an Ultra Ball in hand.
That does help for sure. And it does seem like Miraidon is off to a slower start, so you do have a little bit of time to get there potentially.
This is a really cool combo with the Irida here. We're going to be able to get, I was going to say grab the Vessel plus Greninja to draw some more cards and see how much deeper into the deck we can go. But the Ultra Ball seems like the safer option to guarantee ourselves at least one Curly in the next turn. And we're going to go be able to just draw 2 already with the existing cards, Countercatcher and a Super Rod. Not the most useful cards right now, but there is an Ultra Ball in the hand, plus an Iono for the following turn to kind of combat the setup of the other turn.
Oh no, the next card was Squawkabilly EX.
Do you see the combination of cards that's currently in Miraidon's hand?
It's unplayable.
You have to research this hand to play the game, but if you play the game, you're down 2 electric generators. That is not a spot you want to be in. It just hurts. This is what we talked about when we said Miraidon doing Miraidon things. You still have 2 generators. It's not over. But you already missed a turn 1 attachment. You already missed a turn 1 basic. The game is already in a spot where you're behind the ball curve even though you went first. The tempo is already in Gardevoir's favor. Like, look at the difference in boards. There's an Iron Bundle. There's a Penguin with a Charm. This Penguin is meant to deliver presents.
It feels so bad, but you simply can't just pass, right?
You can't. You just absolutely can't. Like, what are you going to do for one more turn? Give Gardevoir a turn to get Curlias onto the board? Like, that is an even worse scenario, where if you wait one more turn, maybe I top deck a hands, maybe I get something, but then you can knock out the Cresselia in 2 business turns, and at that point, Gardevoir is already sitting on the board going, hey man, that's cool Iron Hands you've got. Let me just Screamtail or Drifloon KO it. Do you have a way to get another attacker set up? Oh, that's awesome. You don't. Well, now I have my whole board, and I can Munkidori 30 damage every turn if I want to, and one-shot everything on your board.
There is a saving grace here that you do play DTE, so that kind of is a substitute for Electric Generator in some cases, especially if you're attacking with that Iron Hands. And the 20 damage nerf isn't going to be a huge deal here because even though you don't knock out the Cresselia, you do have the Iron Bundle to force something that can get knocked out by Ampy very much.
Absolutely.
But the question is, can we get an attack off at all this turn? That I'm not so sure.
I don't think so. I think this turn it's a pipe dream to get an attack off, but you do have 2 1-prizers in play, so maybe you just have to play it slow. And like at the very least, we have a Pokemon plus an attachment here, and we have a Seal Stone for the follow-up on the next turn. So attaching to Iron Hands, it's like we can just pretend we went second. We're -2 generators. We can pretend we went second. No harm, no foul. But -2 generators does mean that the generators that are remaining have to be so impactful for the rest of the game. We see 2 cards, Ultra Ball and Big Charm. Not really the cards we want to see in this stage. We're going to be able to attach. And if I was the Miraidon player, I just think that we pass. Like I don't even think we seal stone. We don't have a supporter for next turn. I just don't think we can reliably start getting aggressive here. Like we just don't have a leg to stand on if our Iron Hands goes down. But on the bright side, this Gardevoir hands is not great. We're going to be able to Ultra Ball for Curlia and start the snowball of things. But if the snowball... I mean, you have two cards. These two cards have to be good. If they aren't good, the snowball stops here. And if the snowball doesn't stop here, we have Iono. But then you're giving this Miraidon player a breath of fresh life.
I don't think you're expecting to attack this turn as Gardevoir.
No. This Gardevoir list does not play candies, so you're just not attacking.
Yeah. You're just drawing cards, playing this Iono, trying to get more Curlias down. You do know that Hyper Roma is prized, so just trying to find those Curlias as best as you can, any way you can.
No Curlias here. We're going to go ahead and use Vessel to get 2 energies out of the deck. This does allow us to now draw 4 more cards and dig deeper. The Miraidon player does not seem to have another... There's Research and some energies, but again, not the most playable of hands here that can be aggressive.
V-Star at least.
They do have V-Star.
V-Star plus Concealed.
We're going to go see 2 more cards. There's another Irida. Then we do see a Curlia at the very least. If you see the Curlia trade coming through. The Curlia snowball has now begun. Going again into the tank. What are we going to pitch here? A lot of Iridas. Probably don't need all these Iridas to keep the chain going. But also if we pitch the Drifloon, it's fine. And that's what we're going to do, because we can just bring that back at some point. Ultra Ball and another Psychic Energy. We can Ultra Ball, double Psychic, get another Curlia into play. Like, this is as ideal as Gardevoir can ask for. Turn 1, quadruple Ralts into turn 2, triple Gardevoir. Like, I don't miss Mirage Step. I guess we don't even need the Hyper Blower card. It's just, our setup is just too insane. And just a pass. And it's like, do something about it. There's Drifloon, Big Charm in the hand, which already indicates that the Iron Hands, if it does get powered up, will get knocked out almost instantly. The Gardevoir player already has all the resources they need in their hand. And for the Miraidon player, it's tough. You have 4 energies in that hand plus Research. And I think you just have to Research. But if you Research, it's 4 energies are hitting the bin. You got to hit Generator plus DTE this turn to do anything. And then even if you do something, it's just really sad, because there's just nothing you can do past that. You have to hit Generator for 2 plus Attach, or DTE plus Generator. There's a DTE at least, so we can Seal Stone for Generator. But there's no Baton in this hand. So if this Iron Hands goes down, there will be 0 energy cards and only 1 Electric Generator remaining.
Yeah.
So
when
I
we were
think
talking about this matchup and how Miraidon might be favored, it was kind of built on this premise that Iron Hands would get to attack twice, right?
absolutely,
But
like,
looks like that's not going to be the case.
the longer the game goes without Iron Hands taking a prize card, the worse it gets. Looks like there's 1, 2, 3, and only 4 Lightning Energy in the deck as well. So this Electric Generator has to strike gold to even be really effective. I mean, you did mention the bundle, and the bundle does secure a guaranteed prize, 2 prizes on the bench with the double turbo if 1 energy hits here. But I do not like our odds, Victor. We have 5 cards out of probably a 20 card deck, and only... Oh, I'm kidding. I love our odds, Victor. What was I saying? 3 energy? Why not all 4 next time?
Well, even so, even though this generator does hit what we needed to here after getting rid of those first 2 in the first turn, I'm still not liking the position from Miraidon here. I think
Absolutely.
Guardy has so many resources available to them. They can respond with a Drifloon to knock out the Iron Hands, and you have so many turns to try and come back and get rid of these valuable energy resources off the board.
In this situation, I think this is the correct split of energies. You do need to power up the Raikou. You don't have that many attackers left. You have to, I think, burn the bundle. You're already down so many energies. You're down 3 generators. You can't really power up big attackers anymore. So you have to take the free 2 prizes where you can here with the bundle. And once the free 2 prizes are taken, you have to kind of commit to the bit and say, I really hope you can't knock me out and I have boss next turn. And if I have that, I can take 4 prizes without the game happening. But if there's a knockout on the active, what do? You have the response Raikou, but then the Raikou goes down to a Munkidori plus Gardevoir. And like, You
Yeah.
have no way to knock out this Gardevoir that's just going to run rampant on your field paired with this evil dark monkey. Like, what can you do about that? Munkidori is actually the sleeper card of the set. Victor and I talked about this earlier. At first, when we saw the card, it seemed very lackluster, but you heal 30 and do 30? That seems pretty insane.
It's interesting because Gardevoir EX used to be like a pretty lackluster attacker in this matchup. You really can't one-shot anything, right? But
Yeah.
now with the Munkidori adding to your damage, now you one-shot everything. It feels good.
And the craziest part is if you hit Munkidori first, hit, and then Munkidori again, you circumvent Baton.
Yeah, you can do that too.
So there's a lot of cute little plays you can do to remove the energy off the board. So you can just put Miraidon in a really awkward spot where they can't play the game that they want to play. Big thing here is that we need to find a way to get to that Drifloon, and we do have it. We have the Rod from the Irida plus the Nest Ball. If we want to choose that route, choosing Irida Palpad. I think Screamtail also does it, right? Nope. I guess we're just pitching that. Don't need those guys. Manaphy and fourth Curlia. Fourth Curlia coming through. Drawing 2 more cards. Drawing basically our whole deck, getting rid of all the bad cards that are possible. Now this turn we can Irida for Super Rod. Super Rod back the Screamtail and Drifloon probably. Put back some attackers that we've been so gravely missing. And Nest Ball for Drifloon. I believe there's 5 energy in the discard, which means we have, I believe, just enough to knock out.
It's actually kind of rare to see all 4 Ralts, all 4 Curlia on the board like this when you're at 6 prizes. It's kind of hard to find all of them. But
It's really demoralizing feeling for any deck to look at because Gardevoir has just started playing the game. And, like, if this is the board you're staring down, like, what do you do?
yeah,
Like, there's very few decks in the format that can even respond to this. In a lot of formats, and this is Gardevoir on, like, nerfed power, and it still is doing this level of damage. There's now 8 damage counters on the Drifloon. 8 times 30 puts us at 240 damage, and we're going to go ahead and use the Drifloon to knock out the active Iron Hands. And in this slugfest, we're even. We're even as soon as 4. The Iron Hands player had to have gone ahead. There's no more hands for them. They're down to very few energy left in deck. This Raikou has to take a prize, but if the Raikou attacks, it's just the Gardevoir. Look at the Gardevoir player's deck. There's like 4 cards, 5 cards remaining, maybe. They're going to be able to find whatever they want, whenever they want from this position onwards. There's 1 generator remaining. The Raikou's going to go down. The Raichu is completely irrelevant for the scope of the game. And it's just going to be a 2-2-2, very quick. Pack it up. Is there even a disruption supporter that can be played here that does anything? I don't even think this Miraidon deck plays disruption cards.
yeah, I don't think it does.
We see the Vacuum coming through, taking a prize on the active plus Big Charm. Being able to secure 2 prizes this turn is very good, and putting ourselves on a position to potentially win. There is a singular win condition, I believe, which would be we take the Iron Hands off the prizes. Last generator hits 2. And then we have to find boss orders all at once with DT. I mean, we're going to vacuum this turn and knock out the active, but you just promote Gardevoir, right? Like, you just promote Gardevoir, and there's no way you're giving up an extra prize for free if you're the Gardevoir player. You have Turo in your hand. This attack just does not matter. You can soak it for free.
Right. Especially with the Turo.
So now the Drifloon goes down. A prize gets taken. It's got to be the Iron Hands to set up for some sort of play. And your only hope is that your opponent gives you something wrong off of this knockout. You're just hoping, oh, there's a line. There is the line. The Cresselia comes into the active. The Raikou can come into the active here. Tatsugiri was the card taken off the prize cards. Benched here. We're going to see the Raikou for the Fleet-Footed. 1 card being into the hand. It's the energy, unfortunately. Another energy is not what you want to see in this stage in the game.
Yeah.
Like, there's only one energy left in the deck, I believe. It just feels so bad from here on out. Like, you can't produce that last attacker that you want to produce, even though the Gardevoir player gave you a freebie here. A questionable line, because all you really needed to do is soak the hit with Turo, and the scope of the game is still locked up. The Gardevoir player seems to love his 2 Turos, but doesn't know how to utilize them super well. That being said, we're going to be able to see the Gardevoir EX hit the active spot. I mean, it's a very simple turn from Gardevoir. We're going to go ahead and bench the Munkidori and the Dark Energies that are in our hands. We're going to go ahead and bench the Artisan. Use the Artisan. There's a bench lock on the other side. Get the Scream Tail.
So the Iron Hand, the second Iron Hand should have been taken off the prizes from Miraidon. And like you were mentioning, Rahul, that might be the best way to close out this game, to take 2 prizes. But, I mean, there's a double turbo in hand, so you can attach that. But it's all going to come down to that last generator. And if there's even is 2 energy in the deck.
Absolutely.
To hit with the generator. Oh, there's an Iono this turn, actually.
Yep, the Gardevoir player was almost always going to Iono here.
So that
gives us a slight chance.
Yeah.
Because now there is a world where we can draw into the generator. We're just drawing a bunch of cards here, very, very zealously. We're just seeing what we can get into, just getting rid of some bad cards, working our way through the deck, seeing what comes of this. And I think we're counter-catching up the... We're just going to Scream Tail something on the bench. This is an interesting line because I don't really see why we're not targeting the energies that are in play. Because if there's any Rod or any prospect like that, this now opens up that window of that coming back. Like, 3 generators are down. Raichu just isn't a threat. So I think this is a situation of tunnel visioning a little bit on Raichu can win the game, so we don't need to deal with that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can, if you don't have a supporter, you just promote Tatsuki.
Generators, for sure.
So now it's a situation where Miraidon's going to be able to search out the Iron Hands. Can we make something happen with this turn? Prime Catcher would be really, really good here to combo with the hands, but the Prime Catcher is not going to be able to be taken. It is one of the last 2 prize cards. Greninja and Mew are 2 for your treaters. I think promoting Mew is completely fine here because you can further treat that. I don't think it's that serious.
You could promote Raikou for Fleet-Footed, I think.
Raikou for Fleet-Footed is also completely fine. Both are completely fine options. We're going to go ahead and draw for turn. Town Store is not the card we're looking for. We'll go ahead and use Miraidon ability, I think. We're going to use Artisan, but that's also just like the equivalent of Miraidon ability here. So everything we need is the bottom of the deck. We need to go ahead and get this Iron Hands with the Miraidon ability.
Yeah.
We're going to go ahead and Ultra Ball and fail it. Go to 0.
We need to hit, what? Boss, Double Turbo, Generator, hit 2 Lightning?
Yep. That's the exact 3 cards that win us this game. Boss, Double Turbo, Electric Generator. The odds are not high.
Still have to hit the 2 Lightning off of that.
Odds are not high. In fact, they're probably close to 0. But the odds are not 0 until it's over. I've seen more improbable games come out of nowhere. So this would be a miracle if it does happen. But we have 4 cards with Fleet-Footed as well.
Yeah, that's true.
We're going to go ahead and use Mew to draw 3. Generator, Escape Board. There's a Greninja draw as well for 2.
Okay.
We have Greninja for 2. We have Fleet-Footed for 1. I think you always Fleet-Footed here for odds. Like, you always Fleet-Footed first to advance our odds of not hitting I think it's always Fleet-Footed first. The math is always Fleet-Footed first. But we're going to go ahead and Generator to send it. We need 2 here to even have a chance in this game. There is 2.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, hold your breath here. We have a Fleet-Footed. We have a concealed cards. 3 cards is what separates us.
Double Turbo.
Double Turbo. Boss's Orders. Those are the 2 cards we're looking for. Can we do it? Concealed cards. 2 cards. Double Turbo Boss's Orders! That's the game!
Oh my god.
The Cresselia promotion, the small mistake that the Gardevoir player did not think would matter, and the 2 exact cards, a miracle run for this Miraidon player that discards everything they had, coming through the smallest of margins. We said there was a slim, little to 0% chance, but this Miraidon player was the protagonist of this tournament. You played those outs, you sequenced that correctly, and the Miraidon player was rewarded for sequencing correctly and getting everything done. What an incredible ending to the Champions League. I'm in shock, Victor.
I mean, we talked about the out, right? But we talked about it so incredulously, like it was never going to happen. But here we are, watching it happen.
Look at his friends. If that was my friend in finals, I would also be in tears. Like that's, dude. Wow.
2 donks into the miracle top 2.
Every single scenario for the Miraidon player from that first research where we discarded 2 generators had to be as close, like the percentage odds had to have been sub 5% of win condition from that position, and it had to involve the Gardevoir player making a mistake, and it did happen. There was a mistake that happened in the game, but both players played excellently. They played through 2 full days of Pokemon, a lot of rounds. And we've come down to a situation where, you know, the better player in the situation won. And this game for sure lasted more than a turn. And it was a barn burner.
I mean, you can't deny that the Miraidon player got lucky, but I mean, he played perfectly, right?
He played perfectly.
I didn't notice. So he deserves the win for sure. Actually, he had 1 more card to be drawn still with the Raikou, right? So there was still a little bit more of a chance if he didn't hit it there, and got rewarded for sequencing everything right.
Do you remember when I said that he should have drawn a fleet-footed first? He would not have hit it. He would not have won the game. Right. For everyone watching on YouTube, that's going to be for us, me and Victor here. You can check out Victor on all of his socials, Victor Ong. It's Vic. It's _ Vic, I believe. Check him out.
_ITVIC on Twitter.
Yep. Check out Victor there. He is also trying to be a budding caster. Check him out. He does a lot of work. We're going to cut the video there. We had a lot of fun tonight for everyone watching. I'm going to hang out with the stream for a little bit, answer some questions, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this video.